Hello guys, today we are here with a project analysis of Elta. So Elta is an upcoming project in Clementi Avenue 1.
This will be the last project along the Clementi Avenue 1 belt, which is right in between Clement Canopy and Clavon. Note that this will be a harmonized project. The target preview is from 7th February all the way to 22nd February.
So for this location, I think it brings back a lot of good memories for me and Jonathan.
Yeah.
Because we recently, I think 2021, we brought a buyer to buy Clavon 4-bedder.
Right. It was a 4-bedder.
Yeah, so 4-bedder, then now they are setting on a profits of around 800k.
Yeah, so basically they bought in, I think around 2.5.
2.5 M.
Yeah, so back in those days, 2.5 million can actually fetch you a 4-bedder condo with private lift some more in Clementi area. Then now based on recent transaction, it has actually appreciated. I think the last transaction was around
3.3.
3.3. Yeah, so they are sitting on a very good 800k profits.
So this is an evergreen location. You're surrounded by many $1 million HDB flats.
I think that was one of the main drivers that actually push up the price so much.
Without further ado, let's move on. So for this project, the developer is MCL Land and CSC Land Group. 99 years from 13 February 2024. Then we have 2 blocks of 39 stories. So total number of units is around 501. And yeah, 401 car park lots and TOP is around 2029.
So I think the car park lots is quite generous at around 80%. Yeah. So for today's analysis, right, we will be predicting Elta to range between 2.2 kPSF to 2.7 kPSF. Because this is a high-rise building, 39 stories. So we'll be expecting the lower floors to be around 2.2, higher floors to be around 2.7 kPSF. So in today's analysis, the main comparison will be between the low floors and the high floors unit.
So for these two developers, these are the projects. So the most recent ones are actually Nava Grove for MCL Land and also Tembusu Grant. Then for CSC will be Verdure and Twinview.
Alright, so this is the location of Elta along Clementi Avenue 1. Over here, this is Clavon, and on the right side is Clement Canopy.
Okay, so for location wise regarding the MRT, right? So Elta is easily connected to many interchanges. So the nearest MRT will be Clementi. Clementi, you have a Clementi Mall, you have bus interchange. We have Buona Vista MRT, Jurong East MRT, and also One North within reach. So it's well connected. So for schools wise, the most notable schools are NUS and also Nanhua High. Many buyers actually they buy for Nanhua High and also NUS for the convenience to tertiary schools. But we also have all those preschool like Maple Bear, all those. These ones are all within reach.
Basically, when you stay in this Clementi area, your kids have all the range of school from primary school all the way to tertiary school. Yeah, we got Nanhua Primary School over here, NUS High, your NUS, you got a SST. This is a secondary school.
So basically, you live in this location, let's say your child hasn't even grown up. Actually, you can stay here for your whole life.
Yeah, basically, not really for a whole life, for at least 20 years. I think around 20 years.
Yeah,
from primary school all the way to tertiary school.
Yeah, you don't have to be worried about all the schools lah.
Yeah, don't have to worry about shifting. Alright, so moving on to the unit mix, we have 1+ study all the way to 5 bedders. So basically, it caters to every buyer out there, from investors to or your own stay, your premium units. For the 5 bedders. In this analysis, we will be using 2.2 kPSF for the lower floors all the way to 2.7 kPSF. So for 1+ study, right, it will be at 506 square feet. Note that this is a harmonized project.
Yeah.
So if you were to compare with Clement Canopy or Clavon, right, the per square feet is going to be slightly higher because the square feet is lower because we remove the aircon ledge. Alright, so as mentioned, at level 4, right, we'll be expecting the units to be at around $1.13 million starting from
1.113.
That's right, 1.113.
Yeah. So the per floor premium will be expecting around 0.5% jump. So for this, the units are spending from level 4 to level 39. Okay, so per floor jump 0.5%. That means, right, if the 4th floor is 1.113, 5th floor will be 1.118. Okay, but the 6th floor will not be 0.5% higher than the 5th floor, because if we add it like that, it will become
compounding.
Then it will be very dangerous. Okay, we expect the price to have a uniform increase across the levels. Just that once you reach a certain level, there will be a big jump.
Like your level 8 and your level 18, 28, all the very hot floors.
Moving on to site plan.
Okay, so for this project, there's a total of 2 blocks, 1 block, 2 blocks. Both blocks will be sitting on top of a multi-story car park. It comes with full condo facilities, the tennis court, the swimming pool, basically everything on top of the multi-story car park.
Full condo facilities lah. There will be units that faces the AYE over this side. Okay, there will be other units that faces the Clementi Avenue 1. So you can see from the side plan, right, the bigger units are right here. They're actually facing the AYE. So most of the time, when the bigger units they are facing are more of the premium facing. So therefore, most of the time they will charge a premium on the facing that the bigger units are facing.
Yeah, because on the higher floor, I believe that on the higher floor they will be looking over to the Pandan Reservoir and area.
So it'll be quite a nice view lah. For the views wise, as we mentioned earlier, here, this is for Nanhua. This side will be AYE. Okay, so if you can see, all these are actually unblock. Then for this, you can actually look towards the sea also. Then for the Nanhua side, you're basically just unblocked, but it's all mostly HDBs lah.
Mostly in buildings. Yep. Okay, so as mentioned, this is the sea view right over here. So to get sea view, you will have to actually go, I would say, level 20 and above. Yeah, anything lower is just maybe a little pocket view.
Yeah.
Then on the Clementi Avenue 1 view is basically right over here. So buyers out there will be asking like, what is this land plot for? So based on URA latest plan, right, this is actually an educational plot. So likely this is a low-rise building. Overall, you should be able to get an unblocked view if the URA plans actually follow through.
First, we'll talk about the 1+ study bedroom layout. Okay, so for 1+ study, straightforward, we are at stack 10 over here. Okay, we have 36 units. So for this unit, this is 506 square feet. So when you enter the unit, you actually get an open kitchen concept. Your study is on the left over here. So as you go inside, this is quite a pretty standard layout. Okay, you have a proper study area over here. Then for the bath, you have a dual entrance. So dual entrance is good for visitors.
Basically, if you have seen our video previously for the Ori, we compare different 1+ study layout. So this is one of our most preferred 1+ study layout.
Yeah, functional.
Okay, so to predict the price of Elta, we take a look at the recent launch from the developers, which is Nava Grove. So as you can see over here, from level 1 to level 5, the per floor jump is actually a uniform jump at about 3%, 3 to 3.5%.
Yeah.
Then at level 8, there's a huge jump over here. This is a lump sum jump, then consistent jump to level 12, then level 18. So very similar to what we mentioned previously lah. So at the very hot flooring, right, there will be a big jump. And so if you are a buyer out there, right, you will want to position yourself to prioritize the level that's before the jump, which is level 7, level 11, and level 17. This is the strategy that we always help our clients when it comes to balloting for such hot projects out there.
So for Elta, this is what we estimate. Okay, these are the prices what we are gonna estimate lah. So the starting will be from 22 PSF. So 22 PSF likely will be the 4th floor over here. So there will be a uniform increase of around 5.5k. We take around 0.5%, which is around 5 to 6k, but we use 5.5k for easier calculations. As what we mentioned earlier, there will be a big jump at some certain levels. Okay, so this is just an estimate, please don't quote us. Okay, but what we see here is 4th floor will be around 1.113. Okay, for the 39th floor, we might reach 1.36 million. For 1+ study, I think the most important thing is we are looking at rental yield. Investors out there, I think we have to be very careful what we are choosing based on the floor level. Yeah, because the higher you go, the rental yield will be actually lower. Yes.
Unless of course you're buying for your own stay and you want to stay in a 1+ study with good views. And that's a totally different story.
Yeah, then it's different story lah. Because the higher you go, you get better views, more and more better. Okay. So we take reference to Clavon, which is right beside. So 1+ study Clavon, the rental quantum, right? Lowest is 3.4, highest 3.8. So we take average around 3.5, 3.6. Okay. So what we see is tenants are not actually paying extra for higher floor. So we take reference to Clavon 1+ study, which is right beside, right? So lowest quantum for the rental for 1+ study is 3.4k. Highest we can reach up to 3.8. So we take for reference, our average is around 3.5, 3.6. Okay, so for 1+ study, like what I mentioned earlier, we are looking at rental play. Okay, then from the transactions, what we can see is, right, tenants are not paying extra for higher floor. Yeah, because to tenants, I think the cheaper makes more sense for them lah. Okay, so bro, John, so can I just check with you? So does it make sense for us to buy higher floor here if I'm considering rental play for this unit type?
Yeah, so basically if we take a calculation, we take a look at the calculation right over here. So let's say for example at level 4, right, 113, basically this is the estimate. Level 4, 1.13 million, right? Based on 3,005 rental, you'll be getting at about 3.8%. Yeah, then we go all the way, we compare to the higher floor at 1.366 million, right, your rental yield actually dropped to 3.16%. Yeah, so basically, if you are, you're an investor, you're planning to hold on to the property after the project reaches TOP, right? Definitely, I will go for the lower floors because I want to get as high of a rental yield as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so next we talk about sales strategy. So with reference to Clavon again, so you can see for 03, we can't disclose the stack. Okay, so for 03XX, they actually bought 807K, they sold 980K. So profit is around 173. So 14th floor, 861, so 1045, profit is 184K. Then next one, the very high floor, 29th floor, they bought 934K, they sold at 1080. So as you can see, when you go until very high floor, it doesn't mean that your profits will actually increase. Okay, yeah, so it's quite interesting. So why do you think that it's like this? Because when you are launching that time, right, developer will definitely sell higher for higher floor. John, why do you think it's like this?
Yeah, so basically, if I were a resale buyer, right, definitely I will go for something with a higher rental yield, right? Unless, of course, you are selling to buyers who are buying for their own stay. Then probably they will buy a higher floor level. But again, the competition is going to be so high. Yeah, because the true demand for own stay, one bedder, 1+ study is just that small pool of buyers. So definitely, there will be more investors as compared to own stay buyers. So definitely, the low floors will get a higher demand as compared to the higher floor, and that explains the higher profit gains by the new launch buyer who bought a 1+ study at the lower floor during the launch day.
Okay, so for all these units, they are bought on the same day. It's just like how much profits that they gain only. So like what we mentioned earlier, 1+ study, I think most of the people who buy, right, they're buying a second property.
Yeah.
So for them, the lower the quantum, the price quantum is better for them.
Easier for them to absorb as well.
Yeah. So for sales strategy for Elta, what we feel is you should buy as low as you can. So when you exit in future, it's greater appeal to the investors.
I think it's a very similar pattern we see from the ORI. So basically, it's very similar to what we see right now in the ORI. Yeah. All the lower floors to mid floors unit are fully sold. Remaining units for 1+ study in the ORI is just the higher levels.
Yeah, because that's what I mentioned, higher level, ROI lesser. So strategy for 1+ study, regardless your rental play or sale play, resale play, buy as low as you can. We'll be moving to 2 bedrooms. So for 2 bedrooms, we have 5 layouts. Okay, so 2 bed, 1 bath, we have 2 layouts. 2 bed, 2 bath, we have 2 layouts. Okay, then 2 bed plus study, we have 1 layout. Okay, so these 5 different layouts are all 1 stack only. Okay, so for 2 bed, 1 bath, 614 square feet, right? This is at stack 11 over here. Okay, so we are facing Clementi Avenue 1. 36 units for this unit type. So as you walk inside the unit, right, kitchen can be enclosed over here. Have a proper dining space. This is a dumbbell layout. So typical right now in the market, 2 bed, 1 bath, mostly dumbbell layout. So this is quite an efficient layout over here, 614 square feet. You get proper dining. Then when you're over here, technically you have bedroom 2 and you have a master bedroom over here. Both can fit a queen size bed.
Some people might prefer the dining to be away from the bathroom, right over here. So what we can suggest is that again, we can do up a zip track, then we shift the dining right over here. Right, just to add that, I really like this additional space that the developer actually left the buyers to build up their storage area for their shoes and their daily items.
Okay, so for 2 bed, 1 bath, it's also rental play. Most of the time it's also rental play. So average rental is around 4.2K based on what we see at Clavon. So next layout. Okay, so we have type B2. Type B2 stack 7 over here. So stack 7, we are facing the AYE. So same 36 units. Kitchen can be enclosed also over this side. Okay, so the layout is quite similar. Dumbbell layout also. So for this unit, same, you have a proper dining space. Dual entrance to the master bath. Very similar, 614 square feet.
So I think the very minute difference is actually the dining is actually away from the master bath. Yeah, so it's not outside as compared to the previous layout. Then also the master bedroom is slightly staggered. Basically, this whole stack is shifted backwards. So I would say that in terms, if you really compare it to the minute details, I would say that the master bedroom have a bit more privacy if you are hosting regularly. Yeah, other than that, it's more or less about the same.
Privacy in the sense whereby most of the time they'll be at the living room.
That's right.
So you won't be able to look inside your master bedroom because for the other dumbbell layouts, it's like when you stay in the living, you can look into both bedrooms. So right now we'll move to 2 bed, 1 bath comparison.
Alright, so Alvin, both layouts so similar, right? Which one do you think is a better buy for our buyers out there?
Okay, so similar 614 square feet. So like what I mentioned earlier, the main difference here right now, right, is actually the staggered bedrooms. So for B2, right, extra privacy, like we mentioned over here, you can't see into both. You won't be able to see in your master, like what John mentioned earlier. But for B1, you stand here, you can look into both sides. Okay, so 2 bed 1 bath also rental play. Okay, so average rental around 4.2k. So likewise the 1 bed, right, the rental won't be much difference if you go for a higher floor for this unit type. So key thing here is for investors, right, to get their best buck, right. So like the highest rental yield return.
Which means that also you must buy in at a lower price.
Yeah, for sure. Because lower price, your rental will be the same for lower and higher floor.
You will probably rent out faster, quicker if you are buying at the higher floor, but again your rental yield won't be so attractive as the lower floor.
So if you remember what we said earlier, the bigger units, right, are actually facing the AYE. So high likely for this unit type, right, there will be a premium charge on B2.
Basically the AYE facing units,
yes,
which you can see the Pandan Reservoir at level 20 and above.
Yes, correct. So high likely AYE facing will be more expensive. So for investors out there looking to get the best returns, what we will suggest is, I think we will go for B1 first, which is facing here. Because technically the difference is just the staggered bedrooms. But if you're looking at rental play over here, then technically for a lower cost, which is facing Clementi Avenue 1, makes more sense for investors.
So it's like Clementi Avenue 1 lower floor first. That's our first choice.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Then we go back to AYE facing for lower floor. Then mid floor, high floor. With reference to Clavon again. So we can see this one, this stack and this stack, they are all similar size. So for Clavon, what the developer did was, right, they actually charged a 3.5% premium on the AYE facing. Yeah, so similar. They also got AYE facing, they got the Clementi Avenue 1 facing also. So you can see over here, for type B2, over here, stack 9 AYE right here. 10 floor bought 1.8 million. So for another 10 floor at this side, stack 10, 1.7 million. So 3.5% difference.
Yeah, so we are not saying that definitely on launch day, AYE facing is going to be 3.5% more, but highly likely developer will charge a premium on the AYE facing units.
Correct. So we draw reference to past transactions, past like what developers are doing. So this is what we can tell you guys lah.
Yep. So even though B2 has a slightly better layout because of the staggered bedroom, right? But because we are mainly going for rental play, yeah, buyers out there buying 2 bed 1 bath, definitely. I would say most of them, majority will be going for rental play. So definitely the entry price, it will be as low as possible.
So if developer loads around 3.5%, right? So what we see is, remember what we said was 2.2k starting from. So 2.2k will be this one. So this one will be for 4th floor facing Clementi Avenue 1. So for this one, let's say a 3.5%, right? 2200 times 3.5%, you get 2.2277 PSF. So from investor point of view, of course, makes more sense to buy the one facing Clementi Avenue 1. So John, for this 2 bed 1 bath, what is going to be our ultimate game plan for our buyers?
So the game plan will be definitely the B1 first, the B1 low floor, followed by the B2 low floor, then followed by the B1 mid floor, followed by the B2 mid floor. Then of course the high floor will be B1 high floor. Then last but not least will be the B2 high floor.
Okay, so for B1, this will be our price prediction. Likewise, uniform jump. Then after when you reach a certain level, then you get a higher increment. So these are our estimates from 2.2k to 2.7k PSF. So this is for the Avenue 1 facing. 4th floor, you will be able to get the unit around 1.35 million. Then for the highest floor is around 1.65. Close to 1.7.
Alright, next we have the B2 unit. Again, like what we expected, there is a 3.5% premium. We do a 3.5% premium based on estimates. The starting price will be 2277, followed by the ending price is 2779. Yeah, so basically the starting price for the 2 bed 1 bath facing Clementi Avenue 1, right? We'll be expecting a starting price of 1.4 million all the way up to 1.7 million.
So one very important thing to note here, for this unit type 2 bed 1 bath, right, because it's a very high rise building until 39th floor. So at a certain level, right, the price will actually exceed the 2 bed 2 bath pricing.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to be very careful here. Okay, so for example, right, let's say for B3, P is around 700 square feet, which we will talk about later lah. So 700 square feet, right, if also 2277 starting from, so 700 times 2277, you actually get 1.593 M. So you can see here, actually, if you reach until 27th floor over here, this side, your pricing is actually more expensive than a 2 bed 2 bath. So when you reach on the actual day when the prices release, right, we have to study the prices carefully. So in this case, right, it actually makes more sense to go for a lower floor 2-bed 2-bath because it's also rentable. Correct? So for 2-bed 2-bath, the rental might be even higher for around 4.5k based on what Clavon is transacting. So based on all this, John, right now, how should our buyers buy their unit now?
So based on what we shared earlier, so the low floor, I will categorize them as 4 to 13, right? Because there's a big jump over here. Then the mid floor, I will categorize them from 14 all the way to 26. Because why level 27, there's a big jump. We are not saying that definitely level 27. It might be level 28.
Based on these price metrics that we are estimating.
But the logic is there. Right? So last but not least, this is the high floor. We'll categorize it as high floor. So low, mid, and high floor.
Okay. So moving on to 2-bed 2-bath. 2-bed 2-bath, we have 2 stacks. Okay, we have 2 unit types also. So 2-bed 2-bath is 700 square feet. So this one is at stack 14. Likewise, AYE facing. So for this unit, right, you come here. Likewise, all the kitchen can be enclosed, proper dining space. Okay, but one thing to note here is the bathroom, we have no windows over here. So like what John mentioned earlier, that the dining, if you don't like it to be this area, you can actually shift it out to the balcony over this side. So very similar to 2-bed 1-bath, you just get an extra toilet. But one thing here is you have the stagger rooms again. So you can look into your master, you can look into your bedroom if you are staying at the living room.
That's right. So just to note that this is AYE facing, meaning to say there will be likely a premium, right? So based on 2,277 PSF, the price that we're looking at is about 1.593 million, close to 1.6 million starting from.
So for another 2-bed premium layout, also 700 square feet. For here, we are looking at Clementi Avenue 1. So very similar layout also, you just get extra toilet and closable kitchen. So for this one, what will be the price starting from?
So based on 2,002 PSF, we are looking at about $1.54 million.
1.54.
Yeah, so it's about 50k difference.
Okay, so for 2-bed plus study, okay, so this is quite a big unit, 807 square feet. So this one will be facing AYE also. So slightly different, you come into the unit, you get extra study over here.
Okay. A proper study area.
Yes, you get a proper study area. So this proper study actually, some people do, they can just enclose, make it into a 3-bed. Some people do that also.
Helper's room.
Helper's room, yes. Okay, so this is a typical dumbbell layout whereby the entrance is here, it's almost parallel. So when you stand here, you can see everything. So for here, I feel that the dining space is actually a little bit awkward.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the whole house.
yeah. So imagine you have kids right running around. I think this will be quite dangerous. So this one definitely, I feel you need to shift into the balcony over here. Then you shift the balcony over here, then you zip track it. Okay.
Yeah, but again, I would say that for this particular unit, right, the size is a bit close to the 3-bedders because the 3-bedders is at about 926 square feet. It's about 100 odd square feet more. So based on the difference, 119 square feet, we multiply by 2005. Why we use 2005 is because it's the average. We don't take 2002, 2007. We take the average of 2005, which is the mid-floor units. The difference is only 297k PSF to get a proper extra bedroom and kitchen with window, which we will touch on later at the 3-bedder analysis.
So it makes more sense to actually upsize to a proper 3-bedder.
Yeah. So the higher floors, 2-bed plus study is definitely going to be more expensive than the lower floors 3-bedder.
Yeah, for sure. 2-bed 2-bath. Okay, so let's compare the 2-bed 2-bath. Okay, so if you compare B3P and B4P, both 700 square feet, around 35-36 units, difference in facing. So what do you think is the main difference here, John?
Yeah, so the main difference here is Alright, so for B3 and B4P, right, basically it's very similar layout. Right, the main difference here is just the stagger bedroom. Again, 2-bed 2-bath, right, we have to take into rental as consideration. Very similar to the 1-bath, the rental yield wouldn't vary much for lower and the higher floor units. The rental wouldn't be much of a difference for lower floors or the higher floor unit. Average rental is around 4,500. 2-bed 2-bath can be for your own stay, but some people do buy it for investment and rental play as well.
For sure. So for this unit type, B3P, B4P, what we'll prefer here will be B4P because right, the exit plan for B4P might be better because some people buy for own stay, they don't prefer the AOE noise.
That's right.
Yeah. So in future, right, and also when you B4P, right, you're facing Clementi Avenue 1, high likely there's no premium loading. They are loading on the AOE facing. So it can cater to people who are looking for own stay, lesser noise, and also it also caters to investors looking to get the best rental yield. So your one will be cheaper. When people buy it, they will find the cheaper one also. So good facing, price will be cheaper as well. So it makes more sense for B4P.
Yeah, so very likely when the unit hits the market, right, if we compare B3P and B4P, the demand for B4P will be slightly higher.
What do you think about AYE noise, John?
It depends, because if you are somebody who is used to the highway noise, you won't mind. But again, personally, I never stayed in a unit that faces highway noise before, so I'll be for the non-highway facing.
Quieter. Okay, nice. Clementi Avenue one. I also prefer the quieter facing. Okay, so right now we have B3P and B5S. So 2-bed 2-path compared to the 2-bed plus study. So this one, which one will you prefer, John?
Yeah, so like we mentioned previously, the 2 plus study is very close to the 3-bedder. 300k more, you get a proper kitchen and a proper bedroom. So definitely, I would prefer not to buy the 2 plus study.
So the upsize is more worth it. Like if you're just left with the 2-bed plus study, right, and you can't get the 700 square feet, which is the 2-bed 2-bath, what we recommend here is we will recommend you to go to the 3-bed. Makes more sense.
Unless of course you don't have the 3-bed option, then you want to prioritize the lower floor units, 2 plus study. That makes sense. Because any higher, you are competing with the low floor 3-bedders in the future.
Yeah. So ultimately on launch day, we have to see the pricing and see whether it makes sense to enter at that price also.
Yeah, and more importantly, your ballot number.
Yeah, ballot number, that's the killer.
So to summarize our choices for the 2-bedder layouts, our first choice will be the 700 square feet facing the Avenue 1, followed by the 700 square feet unit facing the AYE, followed by the AYE facing 807 square feet.
So lastly, for 2-bedder, right, to sum it all up, we have a price comparison here for you. We take into reference Clavon 2-bedder premium 764 square feet. Okay, so why we keep using Clavon is because it's just right beside.
Yeah, and it's a relatively new unit.
Yes, they just TOP, correct? Our clients just collected their keys last year. And it's also very, very high rise. So for this Clavon, right, you can take a look. So 0916, they actually bought for 1.23 million. And they sold for 1.572. So this is when they're going to resale. So 12th floor 1.2, sold for 1.5, profit 330k. So as you go higher, the profits is around the same. Okay, 27th floor is around 330k also. But when you go until super high, like 36th floor, you can see the profits is actually 261k now, which is lesser than a lower floor unit. So low floor for this case actually earn more. Is it quite surprising here? So for higher floor, initial outlay will be higher because the price is high. So you compare 1.2 to 1.3, right? The initial outlay is actually higher for the down payment. But returns are actually lower when you sell based on capital appreciation. And also the rental is also the same.
So for higher floor, it doesn't guarantee a higher rental. It just give you a quicker tenant. So basically, our strategy will be definitely prioritizing the low floor, because the number one, the rental URI is higher, and number two, based on past pattern, right, the lower floor actually profited more than the higher floor.
Even if it's not more, right, it will be comparable. So don't make sense to go higher.
And it's at a lower cost as well in terms of interest, your stamp duty, and things like that.
Yeah. So if you're really left with like the very, very high floor and you have no choice, right? I mean, if you have a choice, please choose to upsize to a bigger unit at a lower floor. I feel for your resale, when you want to exit in future, it will make more sense and easier.
So now let's move on to the 3-bedder layouts. There's a total of 2 different layouts for the 3-bedder, very straightforward. Alright, so for the first layout, there's a total of two stacks. So this is the only layout with 2 stacks in the whole development. We got the stack 09 and the stack 04, a total of 72 units. What I really like about this unit is that the door actually is not facing the living area. It gives you a good privacy right over here. Alright, you got a kitchen right over here, a portrait layout dining area, and it's quite a standard layout, a conventional layout where you got your common room 1 and your common room 2. We got 2 entrances for the bath 2, and lastly we got a master bedroom right over here. Another point that I really like is that both bathroom actually comes with a window. Overall, it's quite an efficient 3-bedder layout, I would say.
So for bedroom 3, we can convert into an ensuite also. Okay. So it's quite a sizable unit, I would say. All rooms can fit a queen size bed. Okay, but there are a few cons here that we are quite concerned about, because for 3-bedder, mostly people are BTO upgraders or they have a family. So for this unit type to not have a store or a yard, I would say that's on the downside lah.
Because growing up family, likely you will have a helper as well.
Yeah, you will have a lot of toys also, like if you have kids, you have to keep it somewhere. And for this unit type C1, you have 2 stacks, 72 units. So 2 stacks in the whole of Elta means you just have more supply. More supply, you will get more competition when you want to sell compared to other stacks.
So we compare Elta compact 3-bed to Clavon 3-bed. You get a better privacy compared to Clavon. You know, you can just look straight into the living area. That's one. Number two is that your common bedroom, actually you got an option to get an ensuite compared to Clavon. There's no attached bathroom. Of course, this is just a small little advantage.
Yeah.
Right? The common bathroom, there's no window over here. Compared to the common bathroom, there's a window right over here. And the master bathroom window as well, for better ventilation. And last but not least, most important point, I believe a lot of buyers will miss out is that Elta actually has a bigger master bedroom. Okay, this is a king bed and this is a queen bed. So at 2005K PSF, right, we will be getting at about $2.3 million for the Elta. And based on last transaction for Clavon, right, Clavon compact 3-bed has already reached $2.1 to $2.2 million for similar size unit.
I see. So technically, you're buying into a newer units that are almost a similar price. Yeah. So very reasonable and attractive price for a newer product here for Elta, and it's you get all things are new. Sanitary fittings, all the furnishing are all new. And I think if you look at the two floor plans over here, they are very, very similar. Just that Elta has a small advantage over Clavon.
Moving on to the second 3-bedder layout, this is a 3-bedder premium, slightly bigger unit at 1,023 square feet. This is the stack 02, 36 unit, just one stack compared to the compact layout which has 2 stacks. Again, this is a dumbbell layout. You get a the moment you enter the unit, what I like is that you immediately see the whole unit. So when it goes to resale, right, your resale buyer comes in, right, the whole unit actually feels bigger, way bigger than the compact. Then on the right, you can convert it into junior ensuite. Yeah, junior master. Then on the left, you got your common room and your master bedroom. So moving on to the study area, this study is actually flexi. Okay, so you can open up, you can convert it into a maid's room, a storeroom, and things like that. You got an additional WC. You got a proper yard area for your laundry. And in fact, for 3-bed premium, you get a wet kitchen and a dry kitchen.
But that's very rare for a 3-bed premium.
So again, over here, there's this ADR. What ADR is actually the laundry rack. So I guess it's automated drying rack. Then followed by the WDP. This is the Wells water dispenser.
So I think this is one of the first development that developers provide.
I think this is the trend moving forward that units are getting a water dispenser.
So for the cons of this unit type, right, is for the common bath, you can see over here, we don't have a window over this side. So I think that's quite on the downside because most of the people, they always prefer the toilet to have windows.
Yeah, especially for 3-bedder homestay.
Yeah. Okay, so like what John mentioned earlier, when you look into the unit, you will look spacious. But of course, spacious, it comes with some cons as well. When you're at the door, you can look into the unit, you can see everybody. So one other thing that we highlight here is for dumbbell layout, it's not so receptive in the market for 3-bedders. Because one look, you can see everything. You just stand here, you can see basically everything.
Our strategy for the 3-bed premium, right, is to basically, when it comes to resale market, right, just look for the right buyer, because not all buyers will appreciate a dumbbell layout. But again, if there's a buyer who comes in that likes a dumbbell layout because of the spaciousness feeling, then probably they will give you a good price as well. Yeah,
I would say this layout, you might cater to people who are staying with their parents. So it's like ensuite one side, junior master, then after you have a proper master bedroom ensuite on the other side. Multi-generation living.
Alright, so this is the ADR and the WDP we are talking about. Alright, this is the station laundry rack as well as the Wells water dispenser. I would say that for water dispenser market out there, Wells is probably the nicest looking one.
Really, man?
Yeah, it's more like a tech.
Yeah, nicer looking, yes, for sure. Yeah, very, very nice.
Rather than those big bulky water dispenser. Yeah. So moving on to the comparison between the 3 compact and 3 premium, based on what we analyzed earlier, definitely our preferred choice goes to the dumbbell layout. Because why? At 2.5K PSF, we multiply by the difference, which is 97 square feet. You get 242,000. Alright, so for 242K, you get an extra study room. That's one. Number 2, we get WC. We get a yard. We get a wet and dry kitchen. And more importantly, we get a big living area. And lastly, 1 stack compared to 2 stack, meaning to say lesser competition when it goes to the resale market. However, C2, you can't go too high of a level because the price might exceed the 4-bedders, which is at 1184 square feet. So basically we use 1023 square feet, right? You multiply by 2.6k PSF, right? We will get about 2.6 million, 2.659 million. For 1184, which is the 4-bedder low floor unit, we take 2.2k for example. The price will come out to be about 2.604. So as you can see over here, the high floor unit for the 3-bed premium might exceed the low floor 4-bedders. I think this applies to every unit, every layout out there. So if you compare like 2 plus study to 3-bedder, you compare 1 plus study with the 2-bed 1-bath.
Correct.
So our strategy right over here, right, is to always go for the bigger and lower floor units.
Yeah. So once the low floor 4-bedder price is actually like cheaper than the high floor 3-bedder, then definitely it makes more sense to go 4-bedder. Because bigger space and profits will be more when you hit resale market.
Alright, so let's move on to the 4-bedders. There is a total of 4 different layouts for the 4-bedders. So this is the smaller 4-bedders which we mentioned previously. This is the 1184 square feet unit. So again, you get good privacy for this unit. Moving in, you got a long portrait light living area with dry kitchen. Then again, you got a wet kitchen, a yard with your laundry rack, a WC, a store for your, you can convert it into a maid's room as well.
What's going to be the expected price range over here?
So based on 1184, we multiply by 2.5k PSF, right? Average, we are going to get about $2.96 million.
So for this unit type, right, there are some cons also. So for 4-bedroom, normally 4-bedroom, as what I mentioned in Ori's video, people will prefer a landscape layout. So this one is portrait. So when it's landscape, it will look bigger lah. But one good thing is, right, this one actually, even though it's portrait, I feel when you go into the unit, it will still look bigger because of the longness of the unit.
Yeah.
Okay. And also for bedroom 4 for this unit, right, over here, this one. What's happening here is, right, your bedroom 4 actually faces the aircon latch of the other unit. So these are the cons for this unit type.
Right. So let's move on to the 4-bed premium. This is at 1313 square feet. Again, we get a long portrait living area with wet and dry kitchen. Okay, overall very similar to the D11184. So it's just that the junior master, right, actually has a better facing, because this is a unit over here. You are facing the opposite block as compared to the D1, and more importantly, there isn't any aircon latch right in front of the junior master. At 1313 square feet, if we multiply by 2005 PSF, we are going to get about $3.28 million.
So the difference for this one compared to the 1184 is around 300,000. So, but for 300,000 here, what we feel is, right, 1184 and 1313, even though 1313 is bigger, I feel you based on the floor plan, you really cannot feel the difference over here.
Because resale buyer come in, the first thing they see is the living. So living same. Subconsciously they will feel that there's not much difference.
Then the buyer will start to find, how come here 1313 but then look the same? But for this unit type, it's just one more junior toilet. So one more junior toilet for 300k. Buyers out there, you have to decide whether this extra bathroom is worth it or not.
Or 300,000. Okay. Then moving on, we have a dual key layout for the 4-bedroom. This is the entrance foyer. Over here, you got a studio unit. Moving on forward, you get, this is very similar to the 3-bedder layout. Basically a portrait layout.
Yeah.
You got a store, wet and dry kitchen. Then you got 2 common rooms. So for dual key layout, most importantly, we'll be looking at the rental yield. So based on Clavon's rental yield, the studio unit is going for about 3.5k, and the 3-bedder is going for about 6k. So total you get about 9.5k. So rental yield, we always go for the lowest unit, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, we take 1313 multiplied by 2.2k PSF, we will come out to about $2.88 million thereabouts. At $2.8 million, 9.5k rental, I would say it's about
4%?
It's about 4%, very decent for a new launch unit.
So rental yield for this unit type, this dual key is very decent, and you can buy for part stay, part rental.
But however, when it comes to selling, right, it's going to be a challenge. So if you enter at 3.3 million, we say the mid-floor units, next in the future you have to sell 3.7, 3.8, which is going to be quite challenging.
3.7, 3.8 for 4-bedroom dual key with no private lift also.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be very challenging. So this unit, right, I feel it caters more towards people who want to stay and hold more than one property, but you have restriction. Let's say your names are all used up already. You have no more other names to buy extra 1-bedder for rental purposes. So this one will cater to you because you get a functional 3-bedroom downwards. Then after that, on top you get a 1-bedroom. So you actually get like two properties lah. You stay one side, you rent out the other side. And also it also caters to multi-generation living. People who want to live with their parents but don't want to stay in the same unit.
Yeah, got more privacy.
Yeah, but you are still in close proximity.
Alright, so moving on to the 4 plus study layout, very similar layout. You got good privacy, you got a long portrait living area. The kitchen and the yard is about the same as well. All bathroom with window 1, 2, 3. And the only difference, I would say the main difference for the 4 plus study that suits out is actually the master bedroom, where you got 2 side cabinets and you also got the his and her sink.
You can brush it together.
Yeah, so at 1,507 square feet, we multiply by 2.5k PSF, right? It comes out to be about 3.767 million. So as compared to Clavon, the bigger 4 bedrooms unit all comes with private lift. So for resale buyers out there, definitely when they come in to view your unit, they are going to view Clavon as well.
Definitely. People who view Elta will view Clavon. Then they will definitely compare, because similar size, 1,500 square feet also, but you have no private lift. Yeah. So for this layout, the cons here is right. I feel that this 4-bed plus study is a little bit too big. 1,500 with no private lift. And also I feel when you have 2 junior ensuite, it's not really a bonus here.
Alright, so to sum up the 4-bedder layouts, our first choice definitely go to the smaller one, because the difference is 129 square feet, we multiply by 2.5k PSF, right? It will give up to about 322,000. And the difference is only 1 additional bathroom. And you don't feel the unit to be any bigger. So definitely we will prefer the 1184 over the 1313 square feet unit.
Yeah, unless your family unit, you require 2 ensuite. If not, from an investment point of view, you will definitely favor the 1184 more. It's already functional. When we serve resale buyers, when we go into the unit, right, I think what will happen is, right, they will see these 2. Then they'll be so confused, what's happening here? How come this one's so big? How come, but it looks the same?
So for our third choice will be the dual key layout, because why we talk about the 4 study first, because 4 study, the size is simply too big.
Yeah, too big.
Yeah, then in terms of the value, there isn't much. Unless you tell me that there is an additional private lift.
Yeah, then it will be different.
Yeah, then it will be a completely different story. So again, because Clavon has it, Elta don't have it, then definitely I wouldn't go for the 4 plus study.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's harder to exit.
That's right. So for our third choice, we'll go automatically to the dual key, 4-bed dual key, because in terms of rental, to be honest, is very attractive at 4% for such a huge unit.
Yeah.
So basically, the dual key unit is our third choice, then followed by our last choice, which is the 4 plus study unit.
I would say even if you are not going for a full rental for dual key, it also makes sense because the 1-bed rental and the area is very attractive, the pricing. It's 3.6k.
Because of the school belt, all the NUS tertiary schools.
Okay, for these 2, the last choice will actually be the 4 plus study, because right, let's do some math here. 4 plus study 1507. 4-bedroom dual key 1313. So the difference is around 194 square feet. So 194 multiplied by 2.5k PSF. The difference is actually around 45k.
Yeah, it's a huge step.
Yeah, for just an extra study, so 500k for extra study. I think it's a bit too much. Too big, I would say 4 plus study is really too big here.
Alright, so let's move to the last unit, which is the 5-bedder layout. There's only one 5-bedder layout in this whole entire development, which is Stack 01 facing the AYE facing. Okay, high floor you will get the Pandan Reservoir view. So the moment you step in, right, I would say that this is the only layout that gives you a landscape living.
Yeah,
you got a dedicated island, a dry kitchen, island followed by a dining area, living room. On the right, you get a junior master. Now, of course, the kitchen, you get a wet kitchen, a yard, and a utility. Then followed by, you get a Jack and Jill for the common bathroom. There's a second junior master right over here, followed by the big master room, which got left and right wardrobe space, also and his and her sink. But I would say, overall, it's a very decent 5-bedroom layout. Okay, at 2.5k PSF, right? The price we'll be looking at is about $4.44 million.
What we feel is the downside is, right, once again, there's no private lift. Yeah, so when you buy 5-bedder, it has to be grand, right? It has to have private lift. Yeah. But don't have. So also, no private lift means only one entrance, the normal entrance. Then also, what we have here is, right, if you look at both the junior master, the toilet here and here, we have no windows for the toilet. So I feel this is a downside also lah.
Yeah.
And if you enter at this project at 4.44 million, I think if you enter at 4 million, you will want to make at least minimum of 5 million.
Definitely, that's like the minimum.
Yeah, minimum. You 5 million, you net off, you earn 600k. I think people might even want more, 5.3, 5.4. Okay, makes more sense. But if you exit at this price, right, like 5 to 5.4 million, like whoever will buy from you, they probably will be landed buyers. They sold their landed, then they come down to a big plate condo. These type of landed buyers, they look at these 5 bidders, like if there's no private lift, I don't think they'll be so keen. And they will definitely compare to Clavon because it's just right beside. And then there got private lift, here don't have. Definitely they'll be swayed towards that side. Yeah. But, and also one more thing is, right, when it's for own stay, you face expressway AYE, it might not be so ideal also. Yeah, because the noise, gradually I think the noise will become white noise, like you won't feel it anymore. But it will still be a hindrance to.
Yeah, especially during the resale part.
Yeah. So I feel maybe for this one, right, when you want to sell, if let's say really you want to put in the market and you want to try, you have to sell before TOP. Of course, it won't be immediate because it's 1776 square feet. The quantum is high.
Yeah, at this level, right, I would say your unit must have everything.
Yeah, must have everything.
Yeah, basically must have good view, must have private lift, your layout must be good, and basically it must check all boxes.
Yeah, this layout is good, but they don't have private lift.
Private lift, that's right. That's the most important one. Alright, so we have now come to the end of our analysis video for the Elta. I hope this video gives you more insights on which layout you should prioritize, especially during your balloting period. We feel that this is going to be a highly sought after project, very similar to the EOK, your Ori, your Chon Park.
Yeah. So if you have a good queue number, you have to be extra careful which you need to choose. Like what you mentioned, the low floor versus the high floor comparisons, the pricing, and you have a bad queue. We hope you manage to secure a unit lah. So high likely oversubscribed. Ori was 777 units. The check was 2,000 plus.
85% sold on first day.
Yeah, first day. So there are still 1.3k buyers still haven't get a unit. They probably still spill over to here, and or maybe park out. So if you're still unsure what to look out for, please drop us a message or call us. Target preview date again is 7th of February 2025. Target launch date is 22nd of Feb 2025. So for buyers out there, if you're interested to take a look and you want to try to ballot, you have to visit from 7 to maybe 18. Must be before 22 already. Okay? So thank you, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.